discuss movies, TV shows, or any type of media of the pop culture variety. My name is Rebecca.
And I am Manu, and this week we're going to talk about two things, and let's see how much or how well we can discuss both of them, but they're big things. For one thing, we're going to discuss the Zack Snyder's Justice League, also referred to as the Snyder Cut, which of course stars basically the same people as the original Justice League cut. Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Ray Fisher, Ezra Miller, among Henry Cavill and Jason Momoa, and so on and so forth. But this one's 4 hours long, and after that, we're gonna talk about, or perhaps before, we're gonna decide right now. We're gonna talk about the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which of course stars Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, will star Daniel Bruhl, Emily Van Camp, and a few other actors and actresses. And but two big things came out last week. We're gonna see just how well we can discuss both of them. I think there's definitely one where there's a little bit more to discuss with than the other, but we'll see how this goes.
Take a guess which one.
Yeah. Hint: it's over an hour long, the one we each. So all right. So which one should we start with? Because maybe we should start with the one that we know we're gonna talk about less.
Okay.
So that we're not like restricted at the end. So I guess we should talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So what were your overall thoughts on it?
I'm really liking the premise of the show. I'm very interested to know a lot more about Sam's life story, because it was something that it wasn't even mentioned on previous movies. I think the most that we knew about him was that he was part of the army or Marines. I don't remember which. And right now we're getting to explore a lot more about what is his home life, and I think that's very, very interesting. And I also like Bucky. I think he is a character with a lot of potential, and I like their relationship a lot. And I'm very interested to see how it develops.
Yeah, I think for me, the highlight of this one was also the surprise of getting to follow like Sam Wilson to his hometown, where like, yeah, we know nothing about him, but I really feel, because I am coming in with expectations, obviously, but not just expectations like, oh, I hope, I don't know, Silver Surfer shows up, which I do, but more specifically that like, oh, I feel like this show could, and we've talked about this, like I feel like this show could tackle some really interesting themes regarding like race relations in the United States and all that. And I think I don't know if I'm gonna give it too much credit by what I'm gonna say, but I feel like what they're doing is, with this first episode, they did the thing where they like do very, very subtle, maybe half-baked, but I'm gonna say subtle, like
it's
references
like
to
a setup. Like hopefully it would be a lot more explained later on, but right now it's just like little hints of tackling racism.
Yeah, because and I think the ones I remember were like and obviously with the whole bank thing, there's a lot of that, but I really like when his sister openly says like, oh, when every time this happens, it affects us. And she doesn't say like African Americans or people of color, but she does say that, like she does mean that. I think it's well, I thought it was pretty clear, but maybe I'm reading too much into it, because that's what I hope that the show is about. But I also think that, I mean, they do talk about symbols, and this is good news, and I hope this is not a spoiler. I think for me it was like reason to get excited. I was watching interviews today in the morning, and it was them talking about this show, which I didn't much during WandaVision, but with this one, well, I was watching them because I like those two actors a lot. And Anthony Mackie actually talks about, yeah, definitely. And Anthony Mackie talked about like he started talking about African American people's relationship to America and to the Captain America symbol, and I thought, like, hey, like, what's up? He has never talked about this before. Well, I mean, not before this show, which makes me think that maybe it is gonna really get into this, which is really
Really
it's really potentially
cool.
interesting. But yeah, I
Yes.
mean, yeah, and it's really great because this just yeah, overall what shocked me the most, but also what I liked the most was just the fact that we get to see his personal life, because it suggests to me that it's going to talk about like the African American experience, and in relation to these patriotic symbols. I feel like there's gonna be like, I feel like the villain or villains, and we'll talk about it, but I feel like it's gonna be something about nationalist, like a very like white I don't want to get banned, like nationalism, but with the
Yeah.
racist tendencies. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to where it goes, because it was interesting, but it was also entertaining, and I really want those two to meet. Like I think this is really so far giving me really positive I don't know, vibes. I feel like it's gonna be really good.
Yeah, I really had no idea where it was going. I didn't watch any trailer. I was just excited about
Oh.
the show. And when I saw like there was another white Captain America, I was like, what is going on? I had no idea they were gonna go into that direction. But I remember like I watched it and it didn't sink in until like I finished the show when I was like 10 minutes later. I was like, wait, did they? And I was so I'm really interested in seeing how they're gonna develop that. Hopefully, they will develop it a lot more, and it
Mhm.
won't just be something just to score points with people and with the audience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's a really, oh yeah, go on.
No,
Sorry.
no, no. Continue.
Yeah, yeah. So it's, I think it's a very difficult thing to balance, because there's a lot of expectations from different audiences here, and I
Yeah,
really hope that Marvel
pulls it off.
does not compromise. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I hope that they put as much passion and like dedication into the message here, like the political message here, the social message here, as they did in like Black Panther, for instance.
Yeah.
um yeah, that's my big hope for this. um so and it's not perfect, obviously. There's still a lot of the usual Marvel fare problems. Like it opens with like some some military mission in the Middle East, which isn't great, and it looks very yellow too. It
Oh
always does.
yeah. Of course, they had
Uh,
to do the yellow
yeah,
filter for.
but it looks good. I mean, it looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, in the sense that the visual effects look good.
Oh yeah.
um, but yeah, I think so far it's exciting. I'm looking forward to them meeting, whatever happens. I want to see how it all ties up. I did know that there was going to be another Captain America, because I did watch the trailers. This is one the I watched them because I had doubts, like because I'm really excited again, potentially, about what this could say. So every time there was a new trailer, and I think it was in the Super Bowl trailer where we saw that there was going to be a captain. Where Wait, did that happen? I'm not sure if that happened.
I
But
don't remember.
well,
I
I
was
think
doing homework during the Super
I'm
Bowl.
sorry. Yeah, it might have. It may be from another source, but yeah, I mean, because trailer came out and I was like, oh God, I want to see if I have to adjust my expectations, right? Maybe I have to adjust
Yeah.
them to it being just like a action show. But yeah, when new Captain America, and oh, he happens to be pretty white, right?
Yeah.
Wonder what that's about. Also, this is
Ooh.
shocking. I discovered this just yesterday, that the actor who's playing him, do you know this?
The actor? I
Yeah,
don't
the
know
actor
who
who's,
he is.
I didn't know, and I haven't seen him anywhere, but his name is Wyatt Russell, and he is the son of Kurt Russell, which is exciting.
Oh my
It's cool.
God, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I think I've never seen him in anything, but I mean, it's cool. I mean, I guess I know him more a little now. I also thought I think it was really funny, but also like it was very worrying and like dystopian, but also very funny, that I saw this like interview thing where he was like, he expressed that he hoped that the fans didn't hate him for being a new Captain America, which is like, it's really dystopian, because like these people, it's like he's talking about people who can't tell reality from like from fiction. But also he has a point, because yeah, I mean, Marvel fans and Star Wars fans, they're all the same.
They're
You
very
know how they
tense.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're usually there are sections of the fandom that are very divisive, but for some reason they tend to agree when it comes to harassing actors and actresses.
Yeah.
So it's weird. But yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't have much else to say. I'm just really excited for it. I mean, the action is not an issue. The like the cast is not an issue. I'm just
Yeah.
really hoping that they follow up on the things that so
We've
far seem
mentioned, yeah.
interesting and engaging. Yeah. So yeah,
I
that's
just want to give one final shout out.
sure.
I didn't know Don Cheadle was gonna
Oh,
be
me either.
on
Me either. Me either.
this.
I was surprised by it. Yeah,
Me
that was crazy.
too. And I really want him to have his own spin-off because I want to see like I think he could have like a really interesting journey
Hmm.
between Civil War and between Infinity War.
Yeah.
With the whole process of how he started walking again, I think that could be really
Hmm.
inspiring, especially because we haven't had like
Hmm.
a superhero like that. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
we
it's
have in the comics,
yeah,
we have Oracle in DC Comics, which is Barbara
sometimes, yeah,
Gordon.
sure.
Sometimes, exactly. So I think it would be really interesting seeing it on film or on a TV show. So
Yeah, and I mean, just just personally, I mean, for starters, this guy, I remember with WandaVision that everyone was saying that Paul Bettany was the first actor to be in the MCU across 3 decades, because he was in the first Iron Man, which it was in 2008, and he's
yeah,
now in 2021. I think Don Cheadle might be the second one, because he was back in 2010. So
mhm.
yeah, I mean, that's interesting because he's never had much to do, I think, which is really
Yeah,
sad.
it's right. It's really
So
sad.
what's weird with Marvel things is always like I always pay special attention to how they portray the military, of course, and it's interesting because the show is about like well, I mean, two soldiers, kind of, in a way. And I
Yeah.
really wonder if they're gonna do something about it, because it's tough. I know they have some kind of contract where they can't really portray the military in a negative way, but I mean, oh, you never know what can happen, right? I mean,
Yeah, we never
they got the
know.
you got the pieces there, and you could also very easily do it with Don Cheadle, in his show. But I guess we'll see. And I also thought it was cool that, I mean, I think him appearing on this one was my first sign, and where I was like, oh, wait, I think this actually gonna be about what I hope it is about. Because I
Yeah.
mean, it could have been any character, and they decide to put the two African American characters in the military together, and it's I mean, it could be just that he was the one around or whatever. But I like to think that that was a very deliberate choice to like set it up, because they don't say it outright, but it's very clear that Don Cheadle kind of feels like maybe Falcon should be Captain America, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is just, I mean, do we think that the Iron Patriot armor is going to show up here? Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, this could go anywhere. Hopefully it goes on the right path. I'm excited too. I wasn't expecting him either. I think this was pretty uncontroversial. This was just kind of good. Like
Yeah.
yeah, so I guess we'll see where it goes, because politics in the MCU are always weird. um so
Hopefully it will work out.
yeah, I
Hopefully.
hope so too. And it's gonna be. I guess we'll find out very soon. But yeah, I mean, I think we should now talk about the big thing this week.
Let's be controversial. Yay.
Okay, so how do we start this? What are your overall thoughts on Zack Snyder's
Uh,
Justice League?
it's hard because the first 3 hours I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is like okay. It wasn't gonna be like my favorite movie, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, I was pretty okay. I did have some issues, but I was like, it's fine. I mean, I don't hate it. And
Mhm.
then you know which scene really got me really angry. You
I know.
know
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
one.
I know.
We're gonna talk about it a little later on. But when the whole kind of like epilogue happened,
Hmm.
after they won the fight, that's when it lost me, and I got really angry, and I was like, I cannot believe they're doing this, and yeah, that was it. kind of like ruined the whole experience for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna echo a lot of what you said, because for me also the first 3 hours, they were, I mean, there was a lot of dumb thing. There were a lot of dumb things and a lot of dumb moments, and a lot of mostly unintentionally funny moments, like something goofy with like a hyper serious like background score and look, and it's just baffling, like the juxtaposition of it. But overall, I mean, I have to say those first 3 hours were very solid. I mean, they were
Yeah, they
very
were really good.
they were strong and they were fast. I mean, they I did not really feel them. Yeah, and that sounds very strange. I watched it across 2 days
Me
and it still
too.
felt like, I mean, this is just fine. I mean, it's a 4 hour film. This feels like just watching any other 3 4 hour film. They're all terribly paced, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, and you know what, I think it's exactly like the final act, the final hour.
Yeah.
This has like 7 acts. The final hour was for me also the beginning of the downfall. But I think that we have the exact same like trigger, you and I, where it was
Yeah.
like, oh god, it's all gonna fall apart, isn't it? And
I
it kind of
should
does.
have known. I should have known the moment that they zoom in on Lois like wanting having like pills for
Oh yeah.
pregnancy. I was like, I should have known they were gonna go that road, but I didn't want to believe it, and then I saw it, and it was like a slap on my face.
This is just it's just terrible. It's like the final, I mean, it hurts to say it because like, look, okay, we've never talked about the original Justice League for a reason. It's very forgettable in my opinion.
Yeah,
It's very inconsequential, and it's a little superficial. It just, things just happen.
it
I mean, I
walks
gotta be
like
honest.
yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's very messy sometimes. So so you watch it and I'm like, you know what, this is okay, like this is just harmless. Like it's harmless, and the characters aren't too complex,
Yeah.
but they have arcs, and you can
Mhm.
follow those arcs. And when I say that, when I say characters have arcs, I specifically mean like Batman and Superman. Those are the ones that whose arcs I remember. And
Cyber's
they really worked.
Cyber's arc
Well, I
was
don't remember the Cyborg's arc from that movie, but
from that
that's
movie.
what I was gonna say.
I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
we were
from that.
talking about Snyder.
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say, because in this one, I think um Cyborg has a stronger arc. I still don't totally love
Absolutely.
it, but I like him a lot. Yeah. And I think Barry Allen also has a stronger arc.
Yep.
But by and large, I mean, I don't I didn't love, like, Batman's arc feels very weird, especially
Yeah.
when we get to the epilogue, because
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
is really
sure what the
weird.
point of it all was. Because I mean, if the idea was, he learned, that epilogue really ruins everything, because it
Exactly.
just, plot
Exactly.
wise and character wise, it just feels very regressive. Like, okay, so what was the point of killing Superman and bringing him back if he's not changed? Because the
Yeah.
implication is that either he's not changed or Batman hasn't changed in how he feels about him. So what's the point? Like, one of them or both of them didn't change. So what was the point of these 4 hours plus the 2.5 hours of Batman v Superman? I don't know.
I don't
Um,
know.
and it's very weird because even like symbolically, I like, okay, let's just say it out loud. Superman in a black suit is incredibly dumb and stupid, and the reason why is that well, there's actually a lot of reasons for that. Um, the primary
It happens in
reason,
the comic books, but there
but
was
in
a
the 90s
reason
comic books,
in the 90s, but there was a reason behind it. Uh, I think
but
also
yeah, but
in the Rebirth
go on.
era, he used a black suit because there were two Supermans around. There was one Superman that was from the 90s and the Superman from the New 52. So they have to distinguish each
Mhm.
Superman, and one had the black suit. So it made sense.
That's good. When I read them, I'll be sure to keep that in mind. But I'm sorry for this film, and you know it. So I know you're just playing devil's advocate, but it just doesn't. It just means
It,
nothing. And I mean,
yeah,
it's incredible. And it's crazy because it just sounds so simple, right? I mean,
yeah,
superhero stories are for children. costume changes usually mean things, especially when your character has a big scene when he's like looking at costumes. And I mean, I've seen some people online say that, oh, he wore the black suit to honor Jor-El because that was his suit, because that scene was all
No,
about him honoring his parents. And I was like,
but
okay,
we
so
didn't see that.
wait, no, I mean, wait, well, you're kind of right on that, but we also, they didn't. Okay, that's not the point. I mean, that's just how it just is. Like, okay, very weird distinction here. Authorial intent versus read, interpretation. When it comes to authorial intent, I do not think, and I respect Zack Snyder. I mean, he overall it's fine,
Yeah.
but I do not think that he has the nuance to carry out something like that. Some symbolic transition, because there was an interview I read, and it's just an extract, so I may be a little off here, but I read an extract of an interview where he talked about it. They asked him like, oh, why black suit Superman? And he said, oh, well, I read this book called, I don't know, Red, White, and Black, and in this book, red represented God knows what, and white represented I don't know what, and black represented humanity. And so I thought, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's good. Well, give us the book, I mean, but that's not in the movie, but I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
Because it's very weird if you're gonna do that kind of symbolic thing, unless you're gonna do, I mean, there are some symbols that are already ingrained in culture. We know basically what it means. If you want to go that way, if you want to not explain anything, you could have him have a white suit, and that would be super awesome. It would look ridiculous, but it would be amazing.
Yeah.
But if you want to go against that, because I mean, ultimately it boils down to, I don't know what was the point of his arc, and that
Yeah.
is really hurtful, because that's a 2-film arc. And it's very, because
Three
there,
film
and then
arc if you
that's,
consider Man of Steel too.
yeah, I'm gonna be a little charitable to that one, but yeah, we can say 2-3 film, yeah. And it's incredible because I see people online going like, oh God, the Superman I wanted, and I'm like, what did you
Why?
want?
And
What
I
is that
feel
Superman that
really,
you want?
really
I don't
sad
get it.
For Henry Cavill,
Oh yeah,
because he loves this character.
absolutely,
I've
yeah,
seen him. Actually, one of the quotes that I use the most to defend Superman is from Henry Cavill, which is, "Since when
sure.
being nice it's a bad thing or it's boring." And he defended this character using that quote, and I completely agree. But the way that he's portrayed in this movie is completely it's completely different to what he's defended, and I feel very sad for him because he could be as great as Christopher Reeve or the past
Yeah,
Superman incarnations, uh,
yeah,
and he's not given a lot of material to work on, and it's same with
yeah.
Lois Lane. I watched an interview with Amy Adams about how her character feels more like a prop, and I completely agree.
Did she say that?
Yeah, well, not in those words, but she said like sometimes she's just in service of the story rather than her own person. She said it
Wait,
like
I'm
that.
sorry. I have to ask further. Did she say that about the Snyder Cut?
No, she said it in general. It was like
Okay, okay,
back
yeah, okay, yeah.
in,
That's a fair point. Yeah,
I think it was when Batman v Superman came out. Yeah,
that she's totally a plot device in that one. Yeah.
yeah,
No,
and
but
it's
it's
so
it's really
sad.
weird. Yeah, yeah. He I really hope he gets a chance. And with there are some instances of actors and actresses, mostly actors in the superhero realm, like getting, you know, the worst treatment, and then years
Yeah,
later getting a second chance, which gives me hope. But it probably won't be as Superman, which is really sad. Um,
yeah,
for him, because I don't get it. Zack Snyder really likes a lot of imagery, and he clearly likes, like, what is it called, like New Gods stuff, like Apocalypse and all
yeah.
that stuff. That's fine. I don't understand why you would want to do a Superman thing if you don't like
The
the cool
human
Superman.
side. Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, I already, like, I realized that this is basically us asking people to tell us, like, oh, that's just your opinion because I like
yeah,
a boring Superman. And yeah, it's my opinion, and it's her opinion. I mean, it's our opinion. But
yeah.
we just don't. I mean, it's not just that. It's not just that that we like that Superman more. It's that I don't know if I don't know if this is the Superman we have now or not, because in the Whedon version, which is terrible. No, it's not terrible. In the Whedon version, it's very clear that that's the transformation he has, and that's why I was kind of okay with it, because with that movie, because it was like,
it was
okay,
very rushed, but
yeah,
okay.
it was very rushed,
Yeah,
but at least it
makes
kind of
sense.
it retroactively says, this is why he was weird in Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, because he had to go through all of this, And in this one, I don't know that that's the case, because I mean, it might be, but we don't know, and that's the problem. He comes back, and he's basically the same person. I mean, he goes to his family and Lois Lane. He kisses her, and I'm like, okay, none of this is out of the ordinary. There doesn't seem to be any real change in him. He then follows both of his parents, which is also what he's always done. And then he goes to fight Steppenwolf, and he's like violent as usual. He's very like quiet, and he's wearing all black, and he's it's just, I'm not sure if there was meant to be a change, and that's the big thing for me. I know I'm not saying this is a bad film, but for me it was a terrible experience, and not totally, but it left a really sour taste in my mouth.
Same.
Because I'm not sure. This is a character that I like, and I was hoping that maybe it would make sense. And as per usual, I'm disappointed by a Superman adaptation. Yeah.
Me
Um,
too.
and it's really sad. I mean, that the day I watched the second half of this movie was at night. Like, it was a Saturday night, and just hours earlier, I had watched last week's episode of Superman and Lois, and God, I wish I watched it the other way around, because that it just left me with such bad taste to finish with that. It's insane, because I really am heartbroken, because this character just keeps
getting messed up, and now it's gonna be in the hands of J.J. Abrams, who I have no one doing something good. No offense, I respect him, but I really don't like he's the appropriate person.
I don't respect him. No,
Thank you.
It's very. No, I do respect him. If you're watching, Mr. Abrams, I do respect you. I like Star Wars 7.
You.
Yeah, we disagree with some of your creative choices sometimes. We know he's a fan. No, but I mean, I know we're spending a lot of time on this, and
I haven't finished. I want to say something about the
go on.
thing.
Yeah, I was gonna go on too. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not finished.
I mean, for me, the whole injustice plot is so stupid for me.
Oh yeah.
Like, even in the comic books. Because first of all, like, I hate that they have to kill Lois Lane. Why do you have to go back to the woman in the fridge trope? I think it's so stupid. And I refuse to believe that a character, like, for example, in All-Star Superman, there's this really moving scene that I cry every single time I watch it, where Superman saves this girl who wants to she wants to end her life. And instead of jumping and just saving her, he talks to her and saves her in a completely different way. I refuse to believe that this very same character would turn evil just because his wife was killed. I cannot even comprehend it. It doesn't make any sense, because the one thing that makes Superman Superman is what his parents taught him: to be good, to be nice, to give hope to other people. And I don't know, it really angers me when just like killing off Lois Lane, which you shouldn't, because she's so badass and she is great as a character all on her own. It's gonna be the one thing that sets him up into becoming an evil dictator. Like, it's so stupid. I hate it. I hate that trope.
Yeah, no, and I hate it too, actually. And you know what? I know that eventually someone or a number of people will respond to this with comment below saying something like, "Oh, that's just your opinion. I like that Superman more." You know what? I'm gonna take the bullet on that. Yes, that's our opinion, but we are correct in that, because you know what? That's nice. I believe, and I think this is very defensible. I think that the biggest, most popular superhero of all time, and that's a fact, should be a hero that actually inspires us to do good, and
Yeah,
not one that makes us
exactly.
think that human nature is inherently like awful. Like it's everything you said, I agree with it. I think I'm not gonna say it's a misunderstanding of the character, because I don't think there is an essence to his character. I'm saying that there should be that there is some kind of like authorial responsibility, artistic responsibility with respect to what the character means, to not portray him in such a way where it's like, oh, like his moral compass breaks when something awful happens to him. Like I hate the trope. I forget the name, but you said it. You said the name.
Ah, the
Woman in
woman
the
in the
fridge. It's
fridge.
called. It's fridging,
Yeah,
right? That's
yeah.
yeah.
Coincidentally enough, it
I
also
hate that
started in
trope.
DC
Obviously,
Comics. Yeah.
oh yeah, and I mean, I hate that trope, which is very unfortunate because the characters I read the most are Daredevil and Silver Surfer. But regardless, I hate it. But I mean, what I think would be very like interesting if you wanted that to do that trope would be, and I would respect the hell out of whoever did this, is if they start with that trope and the story is about Superman not losing himself, and about the fact that he wouldn't lose himself because of that. I think
Yeah.
that would be genuinely good, because I mean, it's very well, for starters, it's very like reflective of these like toxic masculinity ideas where it's like, oh, you need like a woman to ground you, and it's like, no, I mean,
No, of
that's
course
very
not.
weird and creepy. I mean, it's very, and it worries me, you know, when the specific creators use that kind of take, because I'm like, everything okay, my man? Like you want to talk, do you want to talk to someone? No, but it's and it's just really, yeah, it's all, I know it's all taste, but I think, but yeah, I mean, it's all taste. That's what's what criticism is. I really wanted, I want to know if this, if the change, I want to know if he changed. I don't know if he changed. I want to know if he changed, how he changed, why he changed,
Why?
perhaps why we dedicated 6 hours to seeing an arc that is not clear about the resolution,
Yeah.
and not for lack of time, we should add. So it's a whole thing. It's a mess. For me, that left a really sour taste in my mouth that kind of blinds me to some of the nicer
Just
things about
yeah,
the
me
film.
too.
But I don't think, and I guess we could use this as a segue, unless you want to say another one last thing. I mean, we'll talk about this in a moment again. I know, because it all leads back to this. But if you want to say
Yeah.
something before I transition to something else, go on.
I just wanted to say, one of I don't like. I'm not a huge fan of the new 52 version of Superman, but
Mhm,
one of the things that I do have to applaud that era in comic book is the fact that even though Lois and Clark were together, they
mhm,
really had like a nice friendship, and it showed Lois as that they're both independent people,
mhm,
and that they both have their lives, and they both change the world in different ways.
mhm,
And when they are together, they really complement each other, because they are independent people, not because Lois is the one that grounds Superman, or at least
mhm.
that's what I think, and that's my general grasp of their relationship. And
Yep.
sure, Lois does inspire Clark
Yeah.
into going to Superman, but he doesn't depend completely on her for
Yeah.
humanity, because he was raised as a human.
Mhm,
Not he wasn't raised as an alien and then came to our world. No, he was pretty human, and Lois just kind of reminds him of all of those things that he learned. But they
yeah.
are independent people, and I really that's why I really like a lot the version of Superman and Lois, their relationship,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and also this mobile version, which because they are both working in different things, and they just happen to fall in love,
Yeah.
and it happens to work, and it's a good relationship when it's explored that way.
Yeah, and you know what? As you were saying it, I was thinking, because I said some very controversial things before, but I was thinking like, oh God, if someone hears me saying this and then watches like last week's episode of Superman and Lois, they might say like, oh, but there's a scene where he says that she is her, I don't know, her inspiration, something like that, and you addressed it, like you just said what it is. It's not the Superman from that show. If Lois died, I really hope she doesn't, because she's in the
Me
title,
too.
but
Yeah.
also really hope she doesn't in general. I still feel like he would be really sad and perhaps like depressed for some time. I do not think, and I refuse to think this, and I admit this is a bias, but from what I've seen of this character, I refuse to believe that that character would just
Go
like
back.
lose it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know what? Actually, I have to do a backhanded criticism, because I think there was a Supergirl episode where that's implied that he would turn evil, something like that. But I think this one's written like I think this show is a little smarter, and they're
Yeah.
kind of rewriting him. So yeah, it's exactly what you said. Yeah, it's she's a reminder of what it is, of all that that he learned, sorry, when he was growing up, and that, and also, yeah, I mean, not only that, but even if she died, like, Superman would have other people, right? I mean, I guess Jimmy's dead here, but that's the idea, he
I will
always
agree.
connects with me too. He always connects with people in
Yeah.
general, and Lois Lane is just kind of the closest reference he has, because, well, yeah,
Well,
what we
yeah.
expect. But yeah, we that was a long rant, and this is not
Yeah.
the last time we mention it. but I guess we should. I want to do a segue to the other thing that you mentioned that was also for me a big um like mood killer, which was the epilogue
Yeah.
at the very end, and for a lot of the same reasons, actually. They kind of overlap, these are like the two big problems, like it's like a tragedy, it's inevitable. It was
Yeah.
always going to happen. It was always going to be terrible, as long as these two things were guiding principles. One of them is like a fundamental weird take on Superman, that I disagree with and that you disagree with.
Yeah.
And the other one was this weird obsession with, like, I don't know, with this imagery of like edgy characters, like
Yeah.
Mad Max type characters, and it's just, I don't like. Obviously, you weren't here, but when I watched this, I was audibly like saying, "What is going on?" And I was watching it with my family, and I was still like, "What are we watching? What happened?" It genuinely felt like this guy just thought, you know what? I've already gone 3 hours. Movie's over. We're gonna make a little movie here, like a Pixar short or
Yeah.
something. Like, yeah, oh, I'm gonna put it at the very end. It's gonna be called Batman in the Desert or something. I don't know. It was very, very dumb. It meant well, I'm not gonna say it meant nothing. It was very super. The whole it could be very short. Why was it like 8 minutes long?
Yeah.
That
Absolutely
conversation with the
agree.
Joker was incredibly stupid. And then it's like, oh, Batman says the F word. Oh God, it's not your grandpa's Batman. That means nothing, because it's like, wait, so, and it's what we said. Did Batman change at all? Did anyone
Exactly.
learn anything? Did anyone grow? What were these 4 hours for if the two main, well, the two main characters from the previous film, at least,
Yeah.
didn't
Didn't
change
change.
at all?
Exactly.
And if it wasn't a character thing, if it was just a dream to show off like visual effects or costumes or whatever, then why put it?
Deleted.
Yeah, yeah, delete it. Yeah, for starters. But here's the thing: if you wanted to show it earlier. Show it before this whole thing happens. Open with it if you'd like. I hate this.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's stupid, but I think
But
it's
yeah,
more.
yeah,
It's better as a setup for a character arc than as a post
yeah.
resolution,
Exactly.
whatever it
Yeah,
was.
exactly.
It's incredible. Because this is like screenwriting 101. What happened here? What's going on? Like
Also, like they
go on.
try to do too much in the epilogue. They also try to set
Yeah,
the Legion of Doom with
yeah,
Lex Luthor, my
and
least
that's true.
favorite Lex Luthor, and I forgot his name. Slade Wilson's
That's true.
real. That's true. Thank you. They try set that up too, and I was like, shouldn't
That's
this be over by now? Like,
that's, you know what? I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm gonna say that was fine up until that point, because I was also in the Whedon cut. I think that it was a post-credit scene, but you know what? I'm gonna say it was fine. After that is when it just
it's
becomes
yeah.
like a blender, and you know what you put
Yeah.
in and inside the blender you put another blender and you activate both. Like
Yeah.
that, it's kind of what it feels like. It's just really crazy. And then, oh god, and then that scene when Bruce Wayne wakes up and Martian Manhunter comes to his house and he's like, hello, I want to be in your group. And Batman's like, oh yeah, sure. Yeah. And then he leaves. That's what
I mean, I love Martian Manhunter, right? And he's a really underrated character. But
yeah.
what, like, they could have introduced him when they were fighting, Steppenwolf, because I think canonically,
Uh-huh.
he's even stronger than Superman. So why wasn't he on the final battle?
You know
Uh,
what? And I think it was cool, and I don't know if you'll agree with this, but I think it was cool that he was the general from the previous two films.
oh yeah,
Like
that
I
was
think
really
that,
clever.
yeah, if you're gonna do it, that's fine. That's cool. I don't, and I've talked about this with my sister, and I feel like this is something that other people will say. My younger sister, this is something that other people will say about this, and will say to us potentially, that they're gonna say like, oh, it was a setup. And I'm like, okay, fine. But I think it's very weird that they do these setups that, for this, again, it's not just that they don't mean anything for this story, it's that they kind of go against this story. Like uh but well, at the very end, it's like the whole nightmare scene at the very end, like, oh, that's a setup. And I'm like, okay, I mean, for starters, that I'm not gonna watch whatever shit that's, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna watch whatever this that
I mean, I completely
sorry,
agree with the
this
sentiment.
the Snyderverse just gets it out of me, um
You
no,
should
but
see my
like,
notes. I have like the album here.
I think I did see that. No, but I mean, it's just like, for starters, I'm not interested in whatever that is. That doesn't sound interesting at
Exactly.
all, for starters. But even if it was, it just feels so counterintuitive to what the film is I think, doing. Possibly, I don't know. It's such a mess. It's very hard. Like, I don't know what Snyder wanted to do with that, and I don't care. Like, I understand that it's not necessary. As the audience, you can make your interpretation. I don't know what to interpret here. I don't know what happened, because there are contradictory things here, and that's always the case. That was the case in Batman
Yeah.
v Superman 2, and a little bit Man of Steel 2. I haven't seen it in a while, but I'm pretty sure that was. This movie, ultimately, the first 3 hours were fine. Ultimately, I felt like I was watching Watchmen,
No,
but I was
yeah.
more miserable, and it was less nuanced, and I hated myself more.
Oh my god. They're gonna come for us. They're like,
It's incredible, because I think we still have like a half hour to go, but
yeah.
I think this was like the climax of it.
Oh
I
my
just
god.
because I said like the S word, and then I said hated myself. Yeah. I don't know if your experience was that intense. But um
Actually, I was actually kind of like very mellow at the very
mhm.
beginning. I was just wondering why the hell every time Wonder Woman came up in my screen it was in slow motion and with the same very song, like about like, yeah, you know which song.
Yeah, we know.
But other than that, like I had a really rough week, so I just wanted to turn up my brain and watch superhero movies. So yeah, so I was very. It's a very welcome experience for me
Mhm.
watching this film. But then, like the whole point, like I got so angry when the epilogue started playing that I didn't enjoy the movie anymore, and there were things that I didn't like, but I cannot like. It's not the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about it because they really ruined my favorite character again.
Again. That's incredible. We have the worst luck in the world, I think.
I think so
With
too.
regards to your favorite character. Yeah, it's crazy. I get, you know what? I feel like we should take 5 minutes to talk about positives before we get
Yeah.
back into discussing this, because I mean, there's still some things we haven't talked about.
Oh yeah.
So I want to say, as a first positive, I want to say I really like how Steppenwolf looked in this version.
Yeah.
I
Me
think uh,
too.
I think the fact is, I didn't remember how different he looked. In the
We don't
Whedon version,
curse.
he looks a lot more like a human in his shape. This one, he looks a little more like a Hulk, and I think it really works in making, especially the very first scene where he invades.
Themyscira.
Yes, yeah, sorry, the mascara. It makes it a lot. For me, he felt a lot more intimidating than he had been
Yeah.
with the other, because he feels like a
Absolutely.
monster. You know, the disproportionate shape really helps make him scary, at least for me. And also, I'm maybe misremembering, but I feel like the original version, in the Whedon version, um, was too similar visually to the villain in both Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad at the very end. I
I
think
think
they all
so
have
too.
like horns, and they're all like anthropomorphic, and you know, they have differences, but just for variety, it looked better for me, this one. And the effects were also
Yeah.
really good. Like my younger sister said that the eyes look very human, and I was like, hell yeah, that looks amazing.
Yeah. It looks really
So
bright.
yeah, and overall, you know, his character was a lot more more. He was not like, I didn't fall in love with him, but I definitely felt like, well, first of all,
He
he
was a
was more
lot more
intimidating.
compelling. He was a lot more
Yeah,
compelling.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you said it best. So that's my first good thing I want to say. What would you like to say as a good thing?
I like Cyber. I really like him.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Uh, I think I wouldn't dislike Snyder as much if he had done a cyber movie, a solo cyber movie, because he really handled
Hmm.
this character really well.
Hmm.
I was interested to see a lot more about this character. He was one of the most compelling, if not the most compelling character out of the entire Justice League.
Hmm.
And I really like how they explored the relationship with his father, the
Hmm.
relationship of how he viewed himself. Uh, it deserved a lot more screen time, and I really liked his character. He was,
Hmm.
and Ray Fisher was really, really great in this role, and I'm so sorry that we never get to
Yeah.
see something else from him. But yeah, but I like Cyber. He was great.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think he looked a lot better too than in the Whedon version. Overall, the effects just look a lot
A
better.
lot more, yeah.
But well, actually, I was gonna say, like, I was gonna say I was gonna say criticism, but I'm gonna say that for later. And also, yeah, I agree with you. I thought, at first I thought that the scene with his father sacrificing himself was gonna be was dumb, because he died, and I thought like, oh, he died for nothing. It was a pointless sacrifice, and not in the cool tragic way. It
Yeah.
wasn't played like that. And then it turns out he actually did it for something, and I was like, oh, okay, you know what, this works. I mean, it wasn't ruined by this. Yeah, I also like the relationship a lot. It reminded me of another relationship, like father son or relationship with it, but I don't remember which one. Where like they don't really get along, and then when like he dies and the character realizes, you know, and he feels it, whatever, it worked, it was fine.
Yeah.
um Another big thing, Flash was really good. All of his moments were really good. I never hated him in the original, but
Oh, I
sorry, I keep saying
did.
original. I never hated. Oh yeah, you did. Okay.
In the
um
there was this stupid line that I hated so much. It was like, it's like
Brunch.
a cave, like a bad cave, and I couldn't help but cringe every single time I saw that scene.
You know what,
So
it's fine, sometimes you gotta cringe, you know. And actually, I'm surprised, because Zack Snyder is the master of cringe. He's really good at making cringe things, sometimes worth watching, and this movie
say
really proves it.
Martin.
um yeah. um no, but overall, Flash here was really overall very solid. Obviously,
Yeah.
he was well acted, he looked really good. Yeah, just yeah, not much else to say. It was very cool. um Wait, what
Darkseid
are
was cool.
Oh yeah, yeah, he looked really cool, and he was kind of. I do think it's weird that on the very first scene we see of him, he gets beaten, because
Yeah.
that, like, for screenwriting, I think that's strange, right? Like, you got the first scene, you gotta show us how powerful the villain is, not him getting defeated, which is a very like basic thing that Infinity War got right. Like, the very first character he fights is a Hulk. Thanos fights is a Hulk. That's like, yeah, that's very easy, but a very solid, effective way of showing us that he's a threat. And for
Yeah.
some reason they didn't do it here. Whatever, it's a minor thing. He looked really cool,
Yeah.
and And the Omega rays, that's what they're called, right? When
Yeah.
he's in Atlantis in like this weird vision, that looked really cool. Like that was amazing.
Yes.
And oh, also I have to say, overall the visual effects look great, and Themyscira looked really cool. Like that sequence at the
Yeah, that
beginning,
scene was really great.
it was really well done, and it really like I was I was genuinely like, oh god, these people are all dying, and like I'm not gonna say I was scared, but it got me invested. But I was like, I like these people and this culture they have, and they're fighting, and it's for nothing because this guy's too powerful.
Yeah.
And the R rating, I think they really use it to their best, because Steppenwolf with like the big axe cutting off people's arms and heads so like
Yeah,
indiscriminately.
that was savage. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's a little disturbing. It's like I always get this weird sensation where arms just come off so easily, and it just it feels very strange.
yeah.
Especially with like big characters, because the Hulk never does it, obviously. So it's very weird. But it looks good, like it works. I think I have to say, by the way, this is not a criticism, it's just a question. I remember seeing in the opening titles that the actor who played Ares in Wonder Woman, who also plays Professor Lupin in Harry Potter,
Yeah, shout
I
out.
remember, yeah, I remember seeing. Hey, if you're listening, hi. If I remember seeing his name in the opening credits, and I do not remember seeing him in the film. I don't know. Maybe he was in like in the scene with Zeus and all that, like the same scene with Darkseid. I don't know. But
I don't
I was,
remember seeing his name.
well, I don't remember his name right now. I think it's David something, but someone mentioned it while we were watching it. Um, yeah, strange, but not a bad thing. I'm just mentioning it. I also think that, and it's gonna sound a little counterintuitive, I think some of the chapter or part titles are very cringe. And I think in the sense, like when you divide something in chapters, I don't know, this is always the thing with Zack Snyder, because the presentation is very like epic biblical tale, and then the content is like
All over the
no,
place.
Batman, don't even think about it. And it's like yeah, it's a weird juxtaposition, and I don't know if it works or it doesn't. It's just a juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Um and um yeah, I guess I like that he divided it in parts, because I would like it more, obviously, if I felt like the whole Superman arc thing worked, obviously.
Yeah.
But assuming that it worked, it's a fine idea. I like it. Even the epilogue thing, I think the idea of having like epilogue, that's like, I respect the hell out of any filmmaker who cuts to black and puts a giant screen, like a giant text on screen. Like that's really cool. I know that sounds very arbitrary, but I just it's very weird. It's a thing. It's a thing. Um, but I overall like the pacing. I think it really worked. And
Yeah.
that
The first three
the
hours.
the first 3 hours, certainly. The last one, I mean, especially when we get to the epilogue. But overall, pacing was fine. 4 hour.
Yeah.
Usually, if a film is longer than 2.5 hours, the pacing is ridiculous. And so this one is, considering this and considering what I'm already familiar with his work and his 4 hour long work too. This is just, it's fine. The pacing is it works just fine. And what else could we say? I don't remember much of the music, but
Beside,
wait, I'm not sure about this. Have you seen Watchmen?
no.
Okay. So in
Or
Watchmen, he does.
did I?
Well, that's a good sign if you don't remember. um,
I
we
think I
should
fell
watch the
asleep.
show. I've heard that the HBO show is really good.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I heard great reviews about that one, but since I haven't read the original comics, I didn't want to start because it's sort of like
Oh.
sequel. So
yeah.
I wanted.
No, but what I was gonna say about Watchmen is that he does the thing where like a lot of scenes are just like quiet with specific songs, and the song is usually like reminiscent, of or
Wonder
meaningful.
Woman.
No, like, I mean like an actual song, not like ah. you know, like a real song. Like I think there was a Hallelujah in Watchmen when some character dies, and in Watchmen, I mean, I'm not seen it in years, but in Watchmen it works sometimes. I don't know how well it worked this time. I think sometimes it feels very out of place, but it's strange.
Cue Wonder Woman.
You know what's also, and this movie is a lot of like, I don't know what to feel about it.
I have another
Go on,
positive.
go on, go on.
Yay! I like the
Excellent.
relationship between Batman and Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah,
reminded me a lot about the animated series, Justice League.
yeah,
So I like that. Yeah,
yeah. Absolutely.
it
That
was
that that
cool.
that worked well. Yeah. That's one of the things that I would say is uncontroversially for me, unarguably good. I think it worked. Not like most other things where I'm like, I don't know what I feel. Because the other thing that I was gonna say is that when Superman comes back at the end, I told you we would be back to this.
Of course.
He there the soundtrack plays a like some kind of rescore. I'm not sure what the correct word is for this. Of the musical theme of his first flight.
Christopher Reeve
No, 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 no.
or
From the first flight that Superman had in Man of
oh
Steel. Which
yeah.
is I mean, I don't love Man of Steel, but that's a really solid soundtrack.
Yeah, it is. It's really good.
So it's one that I like a lot. So when I heard it, I was like, I don't know what I feel here. I feel like,
didn't
you know,
hit.
yeah, because it in part, partially because, you know, it would all get fixed if we knew what the point was, you know, if we knew if Superman changed or not. But just overall, it was weird. It's like if it was a triumphant return, it would be nice because it's like, oh, his quote unquote second first flight, you know, it's not actually, but you know what I mean. Um, but you know, it's a thing. It is what it is. I don't know why it's happening to me, but this movie's 4 hours long, and I feel like I remember very like what I remember is very quick. You
Select.
know, thing happened, thing happened, thing happened, thing happened. Oh, it's been 2 hours. What? Um, the scene with the museum. It was a museum, right?
Yeah.
At the beginning, the robbery with one woman. That was fine. That was okay. That was cool. Like very harmlessly good and entertaining when she's like just bouncing off all the bullets.
Yeah.
Your silence. Okay, okay. I was you were
No,
gonna say that you were thinking.
I was just thinking about it because I was thinking about how I was thinking about song and about how much slow motion was used on that scene, but overall I was okay with it.
And also, what else? I feel I want. You know what? This is a long movie. I want us to cover everything. You know, I feel like we've covered a lot of it, but I'm just thinking about, okay, Aquaman. We haven't talked about Aquaman
Oh
and
yeah.
Atlantis. This happens before the film, right? Which I don't remember. This happens before that movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
It was
we
released earlier, so I think it is. Yeah, right?
Aquaman was in 2018 and Justice League was in
2017.
2017.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so it is earlier.
Oh, Mirror is
Um
creepy.
Wait, did you say Mara?
Yes,
She's creepy? How so?
because I don't like the actress and I
Oh, okay.
cannot
Yeah. Okay.
separate
Yeah.
it.
Okay, that's fine. You know what? I have that with Gaga though. So, but for
Oh, agree, completely
so,
agree.
oh yeah, you feel that too, right? Okay, I didn't remember. Yeah. You know what? It's what it is. You gotta be in
We
peace.
just deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, in my free time, I punch a wall. Now. No, but with what did you think of him in like just over Mira side, right? What did you think of like him in Atlantis here
Well,
and Willem Dafoe?
well, at least they didn't make fish street jokes, which are so old that they back from the Super Friends show from I don't know, I
Uh
think
huh.
it was the 50s. So I like that they didn't go that angle. It was I think it was a lot more consistent with what we saw in his movie. That he he tried to make Aquaman cool instead of this lame kind of like he can talk to fish
Uh huh.
guy. And I do have to respect that because yeah,
I know.
Aquaman has been a character that hasn't been really well portrayed until recently. So
Mhm.
I'm glad it was consistent in that way.
Yeah. Um, when Willem Dafoe showed up, I clapped.
Yeah,
Every
me
time he showed
too.
up, I clapped. And the same thing for J.K. Simmons. I just clap when actors from the original Spider-Man trilogy show up. So
Yeah. All hail
it's a thing.
to all hail to veterans from
Yeah.
Spider-Man
Hey, you know what?
movies.
When Tobey Maguire shows up in the theater, I'm gonna clap and I'm gonna scream. So just get ready, because that's coming on December.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
going to
like,
happen. I don't
yeah.
know if it's gonna
Hopefully
happen.
by then we'll go to the theater instead of staying at
Yeah,
home.
hopefully. So, oh, I was gonna talk about Aquaman 2. Yeah, it's complicated because I always like I watched The Big Bang Theory sometimes, and I still watch it sometimes on Saturdays when I'm doing nothing, and I'm like, well, no, when I'm eating, when I have nothing else to do. Um, I think that show really contributed to like, haha, Aquaman dumb. Aquaman is not like dumb. I think I really wish I think he gets a really bad rep, but I mean I know that considering that bad rep, I understand the need to make him like edgy, cool, in
Yeah.
this way. Hopefully, next decade or whenever this gets rebooted inevitably, hopefully we'll get an Aquaman that isn't like this
I
super
want
serious,
to I
edgy.
want to be the one to reboot it.
Wait, you want to reboot it?
Yeah, like in 10 years, like yeah, yeah.
well,
Justice
I
for
guess.
Superman. Yeah.
um, but yeah, I mean, for now it works. I don't think anything was off. Well, you know what? I think not none of the not none of the how am I gonna say what? Yeah, none of his funny lines was bad or anything. But
He
I
was
did miss.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he was okay. The only thing I did miss was there was a scene in the Whedon version where I think he sits on the lasso of truth and he starts talking and he's very honest to the team, and I kind of missed that scene because in that movie, that was like, first of all, that was unexpected. I didn't know that would happen, but on the other hand, it didn't feel earned. I didn't feel like we really got to know their relationships there very much,
Yeah.
so
It would
to
have
to the
worked.
point where.
It would have
Oh,
worked on this version because they really did set up like he was kind of like an outsider, and then by the
yeah.
end he had become like friends with them. Maybe not like close friends, like
Hmm.
family type, but he had become a lot more closer. It would have worked if they had included that scene.
I have my reservations with it. I'm not sure how you feel about it because I feel like I don't. How can I say this? I don't know if I buy their relationships between them, the team, that much. And considering how long, like 4 hours,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel I feel some of them, but
But
I don't know.
yeah,
How do you feel?
like some relationships work, like Batman and Wonder Woman work,
Yeah.
Aquaman and Cyborg work, Flash and he was with Flash and Aquaman kind of works too. Unfortunately, none of Superman relationships work because he
Yeah.
wasn't in this movie at much. Uh, they shouldn't have like, which come back to my original point when I first watched Batman v Superman. Why did you kill him in the second movie? I would never know. Um, but that aside, like some relationships did work and some I did buy,
Hmm.
uh, but all of them together, like it's very hard to kind of like
Yeah.
picture it.
Yeah, and I think there was one. Well, no, I'm not sure what I was gonna say. No, the thing is, I really do feel like the scenes they share, the most being like 4 or 5 or the six of them. I feel like most of the dialogue in those scenes is exposition, and so I don't really get to really know them. Like there's a big scene where they're on the. I don't know if it's the Batcave. I feel like they got to the Batcave for the first time 4 or 5 times. So I don't know. But there's the scene where Cyborg tells his origin. I like that we get to know him, obviously, But I just feel like all of their discussions were, hey, are you thinking the same thing I'm thinking? Yes, I am. And then everyone says, oh, yeah. And then Flash says something funny. And that's it. And I don't feel like there was the one thing that I think, that sounds very harsh. One of the things that I think the Whedon cut did right was, I think there's a scene where they argue whether or not they should bring back Superman.
Batman
And
would
that's a
have
scene.
said no, like in a heartbeat. Like comic book Batman would have said no.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he would have said no. I just would have liked to have seen the discussion, not just like because it was on the other movie, but because I feel like it would have made me understand more the differences between them, because they just feel like a team of soldiers that is like working together, but we're not really trying to get the audience to feel their relationships.
Yeah.
But and yeah, like what you said about Superman, that's for me, that's the worst part. Obviously, that the fact that he still has not interacted, I think, with Wonder Woman in a significant way. I do not know what the relationship is, and they have been together now for cumulatively for like 6-7 hours of film, not in this,
Exactly.
not like shared screen, but
In the same movie.
in total. Yeah, they've had
And it
3
really
films.
sucks because he is in previous incarnations he's kind of like the leader, and he
Yeah.
has no leadership position in this movie like, at all.
Yeah, and it's I think part of it comes from the fact
That he
that
was dead.
sorry,
That he was dead for
he was dead. No,
more than
obviously it
half of
comes
the
from the fact that he was
movie.
dead. But I mean, I was more specifically talking about the fact that I don't know. I don't think that Snyder. I have my issues with Wonder Woman films, but overall, I really like the way they portray her as the kind of Superman or Captain America type character that I like that she is.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna say it. I think Snyder doesn't know how to write that character.
Yeah,
I don't,
I
and I know,
agree.
yeah, and I know he didn't write this film. I think the writer was Chris Terrio.
Yeah, it was him.
Academy Award winning, I think, for Batman v Superman, if I'm not mistaken. Chris Terrio. No, that's a joke. He won for Argo. um, I know he didn't write it, but I think Snyder came up with the story. I think that's a pretty defensible
he did came up
argument.
with the story.
Yeah, so I think it just feels like subconsciously he's artificially setting everything up so that they never have to interact, because because he does not know how to write them. Superman has to be dead for most of the time, and Wonder Woman, he can just use the lore, the
Yeah.
Themyscira Sue's lore. There's no need to talk about who she is herself. Yeah, the one time I think it worked was when the little girl at the beginning says, I want to be like you, and she's like, you will. That was great.
Yeah.
That moment, I didn't clap. I would have clapped if I was in the theater. So if anybody wants to project the Snyder Cut in any local cinema, well, let me know, and I won't go. But but if I were to go, that's what I would do.
A drive-in, maybe a drive-in.
A drive-in would be nice. So yeah, I do not think. I really hope he doesn't make. He like if he likes all of this new age, new gods. I'm sorry, new age is another thing. New gods stuff. Whatever, that's fine. I'm glad he likes it, and if he wants to make films about it, that's fantastic.
But why use already like established characters who already have like personalities to write something like it feels like it's just using the names to get like the views rather like instead of creating his own.
Yeah, no, and I mean when he created his own thing, I think it was a flop, right? I think Sucker Punch flopped. But yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. And and I think we've talked about this before, like I'm very open when it comes to interpretations, generally speaking, of comic book characters. Like Tony Stark is very different in the films from comics. Thanos is obviously very different. Silver Surfer, when we get him, I know he'll be different. We will get him. So I'm open to it, but I just with this Superman, it's not just that I disagree with his take, it's that I don't know what he's actually doing, and I don't understand. I don't think anyone, if anyone is below wants to explain to me, please address all of this. Please, yeah, because the way
we want a clear explanation because we just can't get it on our own.
Yeah, because I mean, if you watch just conceptually speaking, with Batman v Superman, that film, and everyone said this when it came out. I was there. It was like a battlefield. Everyone was like, "No, this movie is about how heroism has died, and that's why Batman needed Superman, and so now Superman dies and Batman will have to bring him back, and the age of heroes, that's the title, will be back, and then and then Superman comes back and it means nothing. Like, what's the point? What is he? And more importantly, for those who want to take the challenge, how do you know what he is? He does nothing. Like, he does nothing different from what he always has been.
He's still the same 2013 version we saw in Man of Steel.
He's the exact same
There was
character.
no
Yeah.
growth.
He has never a single time grown in any of these films, which is really, really unfortunate. Except, from perhaps from the flashbacks of Man of Steel to the present. Other than that, he has not changed. And considering the epilogue, I do not think if they make more movies in this universe, I do not think he will. I think they want to stick with this stoic, boring character who would turn into a tyrant the moment he loses Lois Lane.
Which
And
she
they
deserves better. She deserves better.
No, yeah, definitely. And you know what? What worries me is Zack Snyder is in the way he makes these films, especially these films. He's so into these like edgy storylines that I feel like he might actually go the Injustice road, and I really don't want that.
Me
That's
too.
really unfortunate if it does. Because like I feel like what might happen is Darkseid comes to Earth. Meanwhile, I don't know, the Joker and Justice League kill Lois Lane or something, or like they try to kill the Justice League and the Joker goes rogue, kills Lois Lane, and then Superman, the Injustice moment, right? He kills Lex Luthor, like he says, "You don't deserve to live" or something like that. Kills him.
He kills
And then Darkseid comes, and it's like a hell. Like it literally turns into that Mad Max thing at the epilogue. Oh my god! I really hope I don't come back to this in 3 years and
3 years
write about
from
it.
now, listening to us rant about
Because
the
I feel like
same
it will
thing
be.
that we talked in
Yeah,
2021.
yeah. This is gonna be awful if it happens.
Yeah.
Because it's very uncreative. I don't know what they're gonna say now. They've already said everything they want to say if they want to make this kind of story, and they said it very poorly, in their defense. In their defense, but
and they keep doing it again and again.
I
There's
just don't know.
like this video game
Yeah,
that was Kill the Justice of where the Suicide Squad was
yeah.
the good guys, and Superman went rogue after killing Lois Lane again, and it's like, why are we why are we reverting back to these old tropes? I think I love Superman so much, like, and I really want people to appreciate how amazing this character is, and we can because the like he is portrayed really well in the comics, but it's not a mainstream media.
Yeah.
And
so people
for
don't get
that
to see
very
it.
same reason, like a lot of people think Superman is boring, and he's not. One day I will show you my PPT presentation about why he's not boring.
Of course, yeah, we should do that sometime. No, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's and this is important to emphasize, it's been 8 years of the Superman and no one cares.
Exactly.
I mean, no one except for the people who like that boring, angsty, cynical Superman. Yeah, and we're just continuing to feed that narrative of, oh, Superman is boring, who needs him? I'm sorry, I watched Superman Returns. I know why we need Superman. So
I watched Smallville and I know why we need Superman.
you know what? I would be, and I think this may be a little too big to say, but I would be embarrassed if I made a Superman thing that was this, like this, just the Superman thing. Everything else is okay. But just specifically, if I did this Superman thing at the same time as Superman and Lois is airing, I would be embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because I would feel like someone is mopping the floor with my work, without intention. Like it's that show is miles and leagues and planets ahead of whatever happened here.
And there's so much love for this character. I watched an interview with one of the writers. He loves Superman. And for Christmas, because they were still writing scripts on Christmas, he ordered a Superman Christmas comic book special, and he
Hmm.
gave it to each one of the writers, just to get a grasp on this character. And so they,
Yeah.
like, there's so much passion and there's so much love for it. Same thing happens with, I know a lot of people don't like Smallville, and I know I talk a lot about it,
You're always
but
playing devil's advocate with it.
but
I know.
it's like, I know it's very cheesy. Both shows can be viewed as cheesy and like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
but
Hell yeah.
there's a lot
It's
of
awesome.
heart on it,
Yeah.
and it really, like, it goes out of his way. Both shows do in different ways
Uh-huh.
to show like the family feel, the hopeful feel, the love theme,
Hmm.
um, and to show like its importance. And I think like that's something that it's really lacking in this version of Superman.
Hmm.
That there's none of the things that make him Superman. Like
Hmm.
it
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And it's, you know what? I mean, I feel like, I've liked superheroes my whole life, and I've always watched superhero things with my family. Sometimes when I'm watching like The Flash, or when I'm watching like some bits of Justice, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and the other Justice League too, and very occasionally with some MCU things, very occasionally, I feel kind of like embarrassed because I'm like, oh God, everyone knows I like this, and this is just, and this is not like representative of what I like. No, it's kind of, and especially with Suicide Squad, I wanted to walk out when I was watching Suicide Squad. I felt so ashamed of
I'm
liking
so
comic books
glad
for watching it.
I'm
Um,
so glad I wasn't in the theaters when I watched it at home.
I wasn't either. I could have walked out, but I stayed because I like pain. No, but with Superman and Lois, I know it's only been 4 episodes. I have not felt anything like that at any single second of that show,
Exactly.
and it's because it just, and it doesn't even try to be edgy. You don't have to be edgy. Just take things for what they are. And I do
Exactly.
wish the color palette was a little brighter, but other than that, I'm really digging that show, and I'm gonna miss it a lot. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a very difficult thing because I'm not sure if Snyder is embarrassed by some of the comic book things, or if he doesn't know them, or if he's embracing them but not understanding them. And
Yeah.
those three possibilities are all very unfortunate. But I'm gonna be charitative with him. Wait, that's not the word, right? I'm gonna be, well, okay, you know what? I'm gonna be generous with him,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna say it's just it's not his thing. He
Yeah.
the way he is, he doesn't really get the kind of Superman way, if you like. Um, but and
Which is why he should have done a cyber movie. The cyber
the
movie.
Cyborg movie, possibly,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I mean, if I'm not, I think Cyborg is also in his later days. I think he's a little like Superman, but I'm not sure. Like he does become like
I
this.
haven't read much about him, so I wouldn't know.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. Me either. But I feel like that's the impression I get from like like discourse. I feel like that's what he gets to. He gets to be like a Superman type character eventually, where he's like more mature and like just doing things because they are right. But I don't know. I may be wrong about that.
Someone fact check us, please.
Yeah, please. We're not experts. But
Our
uh,
Justice League rant turned into a Superman rant. Amazing.
unsurprisingly, I might add, yeah. That's kind of, I mean, obviously if Superman appears, that's going to be the main thing we talk about. I'm sorry, Batman fans, we talked nothing about him. Did you realize?
Oh yeah,
We talked
and
about
he's the
every
main
single other
character.
character. Yeah, he's the main character. Yeah, and we, okay, very briefly.
Very briefly, because we have talked a lot.
Yeah. Go on.
Uh,
You started this. I'm sure I'll agree with you. Probably.
it's hard because Batman is the character. Like, I find it really hard to believe that Batman will bring Superman back, because in the comic
Uh,
books he is like the one person. Like, he has a plan to destroy each one of the members of the Justice League,
mm-hmm.
just in case they go rogue.
Sure.
And I find really hard to believe that that very same man is gonna be like the one, like, okay, yes, we're gonna revive Superman, even though we have no idea like what
Well,
is this.
but like, okay, but he's not that guy. But like in this, we're making a different Batman here. So, I mean, I think I'm not sure. I feel like that's the idea. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either because we haven't seen a movie about this version of Batman either.
No, but it's weird because wait, actually, I've never actually talked to you about this. Batman v Superman. You probably hate it for Superman. What do
Yeah.
you think about Batman in that one?
Um, I I like that movie for me. It's like very weird because I feel like none of them, neither one of them have like stakes to fight. Like there was nothing
Okay.
personal. So I really don't have an opinion about. Oh, I didn't like that he was killing people because Batman's only rule is
Yeah.
not killing. But other than that, he was a very like character for me.
Yeah, it's weird because they always do that because I think it happens in Dark Knight Rises too. It happened in Batman Begins too. I think it happened in Dark Knight too. No one talks about it, but there's you can they always mess up. There's always this disconnect between Batman, the dialogue, and Batman, the actions, because the action scene has to be cool, and what's
Yeah.
cooler than kill. I was gonna say the F word. Sorry, this thing. Than killing people, right? In the mind of whoever likes like edgy things. But I think at least with Batman, again with the exception of the epilogue, I feel like I can follow a through line that is happening because
Yeah.
he was very angsty, cynical, given up in Batman v Superman. The Martha scene is cringe. That's fine, whatever. It's been 5 years, I think.
We can
I
all
can
maturely agree on
I
that.
yeah, it's fine. You know what? I'm in peace with it now. I've seen I've seen worse. But so that's fine. So that's when he realizes he's been wrong, and so he realizes, oh, Superman is good. And then turns out that Superman ultimately kind of dies because of him, and he's like, oh, I gotta do something. He's doing this whole thing, and he becomes a much more, because of Superman, he becomes a much more person who has a lot more faith. And he says that a couple things in this movie, right?
Yeah.
A couple times in the movie where Alfred's like, so what you gonna do? And then he responds, that's a nice
He's just
Alfred
like
impression. And he's
faith.
like, I'm gonna have faith. And I'm like, you know what? It's kind of cheesy, but I like cheese, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So I think, again, with the exception of the final scene, the epilogue, I think he really worked well, and I like him at the very end with Superman and I think this was on the Whedon cut too. The scene where
About the
he's like
bank.
about the bank. Yeah, that's nice, and I like the
Supportive rich
casting a lot.
friends.
So yeah,
Supportive rich friends.
so I like the cast a lot. I really wish I all I want. You know what? If Snyder wants it, give him his film in another reality, and then give some other director this cast. It would be real nice. Real to have this cast because they play off each other really well. It's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. And
Um,
missed opportunities, really.
so yeah, I mean, I guess overall we're gonna say we liked Batman. I also really like some of the more corny moments he has where he with like the grappling hook where like I think he shoots it and like he does this small like swing to kick one of the aliens. I think it was very cute and I
Yeah.
liked it. And a lot of his tech is cool. Again, I was kind of lost on what the Batcave was because I feel like they got there like 5 times. But that's whatever. That's probably on me, not on the movie. And yeah,
Yeah.
I also really respect how long it took for him to dress up as Batman in this one. Like it was very long before he did. So that's like the audience is there and is gonna
Waiting
watch
for
the
the
whole thing.
suit.
Yeah, so that's good. That's really brave. Um,
Yeah, I
and
think.
I like and he go on.
No, no, no. I was just gonna say, like, yeah, he was one of the ones that didn't have his character butchered
Yeah, yeah, till the last
till
till
the
the last
last.
moment.
It all
Till
come
the
back to
epilogue.
that
Yeah,
one
that epilogue.
thing.
Yeah, that epilogue really ruins everything, doesn't it? Because
Yeah.
it makes everything meaningless and it's dumb and it's long and it's after 3.5 hours. I've talked to some friends and I actually kind of meant, and I don't know if I will do it, but I was interested in the idea of making like a third cut, taking things from both of them
Do it, please do it
Because
and show it to me. Do
I would
justice to
get, I mean,
Superman.
no, I mean that I feel like it would be public service. Because you know, if I have some issues with how the final act looks. Sometimes I because it looks very dark and I just can't see what's happening, and so I drift off. But other than that, I'm fine with it up until we get to Superman. So using clips from the Whedon version with some color correction, obviously, but that would be hard. I think you could have a cut where like we have a Superman who is like, yeah, you know what?
Nice.
I'm gonna bite the bullet on this. The best Superman moment in this whole franchise was in the Whedon cut. I'm sorry, when he comes and he says something like,
I
"Well,
believe in truth
I believe
and
in truth,
justice.
but I'm also a big fan of justice." And he starts, you know what? That's very small, but it feels like there was a change at least in the
Yes.
character, and symbolically, there's nothing that indicates that there wasn't. You know, there's not a black suit that means nothing. So I think it might. And if I cut up some things, if I scale back on the slow mo a little, I think it could be like 3.5 hours, which sounds fine. No epilogue, obviously no epilogue.
Obviously.
Maybe shorten some scenes. I think it could work. You know, I think it'd be nice. So I don't know if I'm gonna do it, but if anyone's listening to this and is interested,
I
you can
am.
tell me, hey, do it, you lazy uh, Snyder hater or whatever.
We're not
But yeah.
haters, we're just skepticals.
No, actually, I like a lot. I like a lot of what he does because I think he has a vision very clearly, and like I said before, he's unafraid to do things that other directors would find to be very cringe, and sometimes it pays off. Um, so in some ways, I respect him and I like his work. I don't think he's very appropriate for Superman, but
Yeah.
I hope I like that he got his shot, and yeah, it's sad what happened to him. I think I think studio should be a little more
Considerate.
should have been a little more understanding. Yeah, more yeah. So but the film itself, we have, I think, really big gaping issues with.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was a long one and a loud one, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And possibly very likely a controversial one. But I had a lot of fun discussing it.
Me too.
This was big, you know. It was the first time I think we got angry, but it wasn't at each other. It was at some imaginary Snyder ghost here.
Yeah.
So it was that was that was fun. So yeah, would you like to say the outro or should I say it?
Yeah, sure. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you have controversial opinions about what we just said, feel free to comment below. You can also follow us on Instagram as @MEDIADOM podcast. And we hope you enjoyed this one mini little discussion and this big whole rant about mostly Superman. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll see you later.
Bye.